Breaking news, St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery has been indicted on federal charges.
I have not been found guilty of any wrongdoing, and I will not be removed from this office.
The judge said cagey, getting into spats over whether or not he tested positive for marijuana, for example.
It's a bad reflection on St. Louis.
St. Louis City Sheriff Alfred Montgomery is behind bars. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hannibal post on social media reads, "It's impossible to do your job from behind bars. Montgomery should resign immediately."
This story starts with a sheriff trying to clean up St. Louis, and it ends with him running the sheriff's office from jail.
Federal marshals are taking Sheriff Montgomery into custody as we speak. That was the shocking turn of events his lawyers did not see coming. They were here on a bond revocation hearing. You'll recall it was late last week, that federal prosecutors unsealed new indictments, new federal criminal charges against the sheriff, alleging that he had retaliated or tampered with witnesses in the federal misdemeanor case.
Alfred Montgomery was doing the absolute most. Witness tampering, burner phones, 14 guns. This man's a walking don't do this tutorial. And somehow he is still the sheriff from a cell. Welcome to Missouri, where the only thing stronger than the law is the ego. Let's get into it. Alfred Montgomery came in talking like a reformer, and he had the city dealing with one of the highest crime rates of the country. St. Louis still sits near the top of national rankings for violent crime per capita. They don't play around in St. Louis. Police are battling a legacy of underfunded, community mistrust, and gang-related violence. Montgomery stepped in during the fragile moment, promising to fix the system and restore safety. In fact, he actually beat his former boss for the job.
We need some big changes here in our city. Now it's time to build a sheriff's office that model.
And there will soon be a new sheriff in town. Alfred Montgomery unseating Sheriff Vernon Betts, who's held that position for 7 years.
Make sure the number one thing that I plan on doing is updating the policy and procedures within the sheriff's office. I also want to update the sheriff's office completely, up to the technology. Right now the sheriff's office is behind, it's outdated. So I'm here to be that change agent.
He wants to request a state audit to see if tax dollars have been mishandled and build rapport with city leaders to see if he can offer insight on improving operations at the City Justice Center.
In this situation, many people believe that he could be the guy to lead a turnaround, promising change, transparency, and accountability, all the good buzzwords you say when you're about to do the complete opposite. He told everyone that he's going to modernize the sheriff's office, audit the books, and clean up corruption. And many people brought it. They wanted something new, someone who wasn't going to be a part of the old system. But if he's on this channel, you know that turned out he wasn't going to fight corruption. He was the corruption. The man strutted in like a preacher with a badge, obsessed with control, and completely allergic to accountability. The city thought they're going to hire a good guy, but they turned out to have someone that is just the complete opposite of what they need to fight St. Louis crime. Now, what am I talking about? Well, apparently this happened on Valentine's Day. You know, where people out there buying chocolates and taking people out for dates and doing all that lovey-dovey commercialized stuff. Alfred was out there handcuffing co-workers. Yes, handcuffing co-workers. He allegedly ordered deputies to arrest a deputy commissioner because she stopped him from reaching a sexual assault victim. Yes, the victim says that she was assaulted by one of his deputies. According to reports, this incident happened during a patrol stop, and the woman immediately went to supervisors to file a complaint. And instead of supporting an internal investigation, you know, like transparency and accountability, Montgomery reportedly tried to access the victim directly, something that raised serious legal and ethical red flags. Witnesses said that he was insistent on being in the room, even after she asked him to be kept away. That's when the deputy commissioner stepped in, blocking his access to protect the investigation and the victim's privacy, rather than backing down. Montgomery doubled down, allegedly barking orders to arrest her on the spot. This move was completely crazy and obviously shocked the entire department. Several deputies hesitated, unsure that they were about to commit a crime with themselves, but the power dynamic made the moment tense and chaotic. This was a public flex of power, and it showed just how far Montgomery was willing to go to control a situation that threatened his department's reputation. So when someone is trying to protect the victim and he's responding by arrest the person here, arrest her, that is some real power tripping on overdrive.
I have not been found guilty of any wrongdoing, and I will not be removed from this office. I will not run from this office. I will continue to serve the people of this city and I will continue to do my duties as the sheriff in protecting the courts. Thank you.
Montgomery ducked out the back door, refusing to answer any of our questions.
So that's when the feds start paying attention. Once you start arresting your own staff, you're not enforcing the law anymore. You're going to be falling into that special show they call Cops Eternal Affairs Edition. So from that moment, his career went from that rising star to open federal investigation.
Montgomery is facing a list of accusations ranging from misuse of power to nepotism.
As he has been released on bond, he pleaded not guilty to one federal charge of deprivation of rights under color of law.
So at that point, he was on house arrest, ankle monitor and all. Most people in that situation stay quiet, realizing, hey, I gotta take care of this serious case. But Alfred, he started calling witnesses using a secret burner phone.
The man in charge of transporting jail detainees in the city of St. Louis now finds himself in a jail cell tonight.
Prosecutors say the sheriff used a secret burner phone to threaten witnesses in the case against him. That's after a judge told him not to contact any witnesses at all. Following allegations, he threatened his own deputies for cooperating with the FBI probe into his practices.
They call that witness tampering because, he's under investigation. You shouldn't be talking to anybody. It's like being on a diet and ordering cake through Uber Eats while live streaming it.
Then the pretrial services office said that he wanted to, quote, punch someone and knock them out in this phone call. That's a recording that prosecutors played for this pretrial services officer in court. At the end, the judge looked for ways to create alternatives to sending the sheriff to jail.
The judge asked him, how many guns do you have? He said 5. They fined 14. The judge basically said, I didn't want to have these problems. And now here we are. Bond revoked. House arrest over. Straight to federal custody. That's how the St. Louis sheriff became an inmate. Now you think once you're in jail it's pretty much over, but not for Alfred. He's still the sheriff. He is still literally running the office from his cell through phone calls. The acting chief is handling the day-to-day stuff, but Alfred is still calling in from jail, probably saying, hey bro, did you file that report? I mean, Alfred, you are the report. At this point, he is basically being the sheriff like it's a remote job. Work from cell energy. How is he even able to do this? Answer calls and jail visits? The man is governing by voicemail, and he said he won't step down because the people elected him. Now the Missouri Attorney General files to remove him. The mayor calls this whole situation absurd. Everyone seems pretty exhausted, and Alfred still is insisting that he's innocent. He's either confidence or denial. At this point, maybe both, but this is how the system gets really stupid. Apparently in Missouri, you can't just fire an elected sheriff, even if the man is behind bars. Until there's a conviction, he technically still holds office. So that's not really much of a loophole, that's more of a black hole. I mean, embarrassment throughout the entire situation here. Power is a serious addiction. It is one of those things that can really melt people's brains. You give the wrong person a badge and a title, and suddenly the rules don't apply to them. Alfred said he was going to modernize the sheriff's office, and technically he did. He's probably the first sheriff to manage a department entirely through collect calls. It's funny until you realize the real victims and the staff are stuck in this circus, a department waiting for a man behind bars to decide if he is still in charge. It's a clown show situation right now. So hopefully eventually he gets fired. Regardless, he has to fight this case. You need a real sheriff running the situation in St. Louis. They can't afford to wait until this trial is over. And looking from what I've seen so far in this case with Alfred Montgomery, most likely he did commit some crimes here. So he's not coming out anytime soon. The feds don't play around. And the fact that he has not been honest and looks like he's been trying to tamper with witnesses, it doesn't look good for him right now. But let me know what you guys think about this situation in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.